Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I'm bringing you guys an update to my Warrock deck profile. Yes, we are doing Warrocks once again, so, this deck, Konami ain't gonna let it die, and I'm kind of happy about that. I hope that they just kind of keep giving a little bit of new support to this deck until it's actually, like, semi-viable, but for now, we are just sort of, rocking with this build, and so I took out the Isolde engine and stuff like that. This is now, like, a very, very pure build of Warrocks, and then the extra deck is just sort of some nice options that we can still go into every once in a while. But anyways, let's get on into the profile. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I would really appreciate that for more budget profiles and stuff. This is sort of a budget build. I've got a couple random cards here and there that might be a little bit spendy, but overall, this is a really nice budget build. And you can sort of tune it up to however your budget fits you or whatever you guys have in your collection. But we are playing 2 copies of the Basilios. This is pretty standard. This deck can brick pretty hard if you don't open up the right stuff, so you definitely want to just sort of run this as a 2 of. I could see an argument for 3, but with all of the other stuff that you want to run in this deck to sort of like complement everything, I think that these are just the correct ratios. So 2 copies of Basilios, and then our other big boss monster is 2 copies of the Warrock Meteor Dragon, which came out last year in the Lightning Overdrive. So this card can give you some like nice effect negation, and otherwise these 2 cards are just really, really big boys. And then you have Basilios being able to special summon himself out of the graveyard, which is also really cool. Then we're going on into our 3 copies of Fortia. She's probably like your best normal summon of the deck, just to be able to get her out. And then after you destroy an opponent's monster in battle, or after a Warrock monster battles, or an Earth Warrior monster battles rather, sorry, you're able to add 1 Warrock card from your deck to your hand, which is really nice, just to be able to sort of get off that search effect and be able to go into your plays. Now that we got the new continuous spell back in Dimension Force, it really did help out this deck quite a bit to be able to add into the consistency. And so with Fortia and your new Warrock medium, it really, really does help to make some really good pushes. Then we're going on into the 3 copies of Gactos. He's really, really good for being able to just sort of spam the board a little bit more, because as long as you have a Earth Warrior monster gets normal summoned onto the field, you're able to then special summon him from the hand, which is really cool. Then we have our Foolish Burial of the deck in our 2 copies of the Warrock Orpus. So after you deal some, or after your Earth Warrior monster battles, you're able to pitch one of your Warrock monsters into the graveyard, which is really nice to be able to set up your Basilios. That way, if your board gets broken, at least you can get Basilios back. And then also, Orpus is a level 5, but is able to normal summon herself to the field if all you have are warrior monsters or no monsters on the field. So you can also do the same thing with the Warrock Mahmud, and then he's also able to destroy spell and traps. So he's kind of our way to be able to get rid of spell and traps that are on the field. Then we're going on into our 1 copy of the Warrock Skylar as well. She's pretty darn good as well. She's kind of the monster reborn of the deck, being able to bring a level 5 or lower Warrock monster from your graveyard back to your field. I really wish it would have just been any Warrock monster. For some reason, Konami thought that they just had to nerf all of these effects so hard. And it would also be really nice with Basilios, because Basilios eventually usually ends up getting banned or banished. It would be really, really nice if there would have been a way to bring back your banished cards as well. But then we're moving on into the 1 copy of Wento. I like still playing 1 copy of this, because you can pay 800 life points to boost one of your guys by 800, so it can matter in a pinch, especially if you're trying to get over something like a Ultimate Falcon, or something that's like you need to beat over, or like your opponent has a Dragoon out there and you just need to find a way to beat over it. That's just a nice little option. Then we have our 3 copies of the Warrock Mountain, one of the best field spells in the game, in one of the worst archetypes in the game. But with this card, you're able to add a Warrock monster from your deck to your hand after you activate this card, which is really cool. Then also, during the start of the battle phase, you're able to special summon one of your bigger guys out onto the field. Really anybody, but you're generally going to be going for the Basilios or the Meteor Dragon, which is really cool, just to have that extra way to special summon them out to the field. And then also, if your Warrock monster would be destroyed by battle, you're able to pitch this to the graveyard in order to protect that monster. You don't really do that too often, but a lot of these cards get their effects off when they're sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card effect. So you kind of want to sort of save that. If sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card effect, special summon a level 5 or higher Warlock monster from your hand or deck. So with Gactos, there's just like a lot of ways you want them to destroy you by card effect, not by battle. So it's kind of just a little gimmick that I think Konami was trying to put into there. But, it would have just been better if it said, like, they can't be destroyed by battle. That would have made this card really nuts. But then we're going on into our 3 copies of Warrock Dignity. This card is really, really good just to be able to get sort of like a generic monster effect negation anytime, as long as you have a Warrock monster. Or if you're in the battle phase, you're able to negate the effect of a spell, trap, or monster effect. So that's also really cool. Then getting on into the new fancy card, the Warrock Medium from Dimension Force. So this card is really, really good because when this card is activated, you're able to set one of your Warrock spell or trap cards directly from your deck. So you're able to get your field spell, your quick play spell, which is unfortunate because it is a quick play spell, so you're not able to activate it that turn. But you can also go for the other continuous spell, which we will get to in a minute, the Ordeal, or you can even do the trap card. So that's really cool. There's just a lot of versatility to this card. Mainly you're going to be going for the field spell, but there are other options, which is really nice in case you already have the field spell. And then also with this card, if you have a level 7 or higher Warrock monster on the field, during the main phase 1, neither player can activate the effects of monsters on the field. That's also if your opponent has a special summon monster, but that is totally fine. That's generally going to be the case. You generally want to go second with this deck. So your opponent's already going to have something on the field. You find a way to get to your, you use medium, get to your field spell, use your field spell to special summon the Michelios or Meteor Dragon from your hand, and now just like that you are off to the races, and all of your opponent's monster effects are negated for the main phase, which is generally what matters the most. Like if your opponent has an Appaloosa or something out there, now that is just totally useless. Now you can go to battle phase and you can try to beat over it. That's also sometimes where like the Wento can come into effect. Then we're going to move on to the next one. 2 copies of the Ordeal. This card is just still super good, I think, because with this card, it gets 3 counters on it, and then whenever your Warrock monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you're able to remove a counter from this to draw a card. So this card can essentially be like 3 Upstart Goblins in one, which is really crazy. So even if you just get it off once, it is just like kind of like a searchable Upstart Goblin, which is really cool. And that draw effect like is not like a hard once per turn or anything. So if you destroy 3 monsters by battle, you can draw 3 cards in that battle phase, which is really crazy. Then we're moving on to some board breaker cards. Regeki, 3 Regeki in here is really cool. Not a lot of time do you have to like destroy your opponent's monsters by battle. It's just sort of like if your Warrock monster battles, so it's kind of nice to just wipe the field and then go in and try to poke for damage. You can generally OTK with this deck, but even if you can't, you can get in quite a bit of damage, maybe set up like a Warrock medium, and then your opponent's going to have a hard time kind of getting around you because they can't activate any monster effects during the main phase. Or you can also pair that up with a Dignity as well to be able to just sort of get some other negations there. Then we're playing 2 copies of Dark Ruler No More. I thought 2 copies was sufficient. We do have just general ways to like draw through the deck to try to thin it out enough to see this. And then also we do have, like I said, we've got Warrock Medium for negation. We've got Dignity and Meteor Dragon for negation. So there's not really a big need to go in for even more negation. I thought 3 Regeki was the more important thing to focus on, and then just 2 Dark Ruler No Mores just for that generic thing. Again, you don't always need to push for damage. Sometimes if you can break your opponent's board and then sort of set up those negation cards like Medium, so you can Dark Ruler No More your turn, blank them out, and then try to find your way to getting into some of the other cards, and then your next opponent's turn, they'll just sort of not be able to recur. So then we have our 2 copies of Pot of Desires. I still like this over like other options. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways to draw in this deck, so I don't want to be playing stuff like Pot of Prosperity and whatnot. The extra deck in this deck, or extravagance, sorry. The extra deck doesn't matter too much in this, but it is nice to have those options. And just overall, I would rather just use Desires. We don't care too much about banishing like anything certain. If we banished all 3 of our field spells, that would be horrible, but it's just not going to happen that often. Then we have our 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army, 1 copy of Terraforming to be able to find our field spell, along with 1 copy of Mystic Mine. I still wanted to keep this in the main deck from my last build. Having the Mystic Mine in here is really nice to be able to just sort of slow down the pace of the game, and then you have your other field spell to be able to replace it, and then like, you know, then you can just sort of go crazy from there. So yeah, one Mystic Mine, I really like having it in the deck. One copy of Call by the Grave because we just cannot be hand trapped. And then one copy of Change of Heart just for another nice little board breaker card. I thought it was really nice in here because there are times where you can kind of get slowed down with these tribute monsters. So like Skylar doesn't have the effect where she can normal summon herself if you only control warriors. She can't do that. So if you just Change of Heart, steal and tribute one of your opponent's really big monsters, or just even to do it for like the Orpus, there's just certain scenarios where Change of Heart can come in really good. I'm testing around with it. I think I really like it. You know, if you're not seeing Regeki, Change of Heart is a nice little substitute. Then we're going on into the one copy of Warrock Generations just to be able to get your deck going. If you're not seeing the cards you need, it can help you to get your Basilios straight out of the deck. And then for the 40th card, one copy of Metaverse. I wanted to find room for Upstart Goblin in here as well, just for another draw card, but I couldn't really find it in space. But that was just another, sort of like another small tip to be able to maybe put in here. But overall, really happy with how the deck came out, really happy with how it's been performing. So let's get on into the extra deck now. We're playing our one copy of the Ferocious Flame Swordsman. This is just kind of like a Mrs. Radiant for the deck, so we're also playing Mrs. Radiant. So if you get these two out onto the field, it's going to boost all of your Earth Warrior monsters, which is the entire main deck, by a total of 1,000 attack, which is really crazy. So if you can pair these two out onto the field, really crazy. The only problem is this deck doesn't spam enough to really probably likely do that, but still, it's a nice thought. You can always try to like steal your opponent's monsters with Change of Heart to try to like link climb as well, which is really cool. One copy of Underclock Tiger just to be able to get over other things. You know, this is a battle deck, so like all three of these cards right here just sort of like revolve around the battle phase. This is a battle phase reliant deck, so you just gotta kind of embrace it. You don't want to like you can try to sort of work around it, but no, I just say embrace it. Try to boost everybody up and just punch your opponent right in the face. One copy of Geonator Transverser to get around some stuff. One copy of IP Masquerena, and then our Nightmare package of Cerberus, Phoenix, and Unicorn. Obviously, just some nice, very generic stuff. This is the one non-budget card in this deck, really. Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. If you guys want to find a spot for other stuff, this could easily be Decode Talker or an Appaloosa, whatever you want to put in here. It really doesn't matter. One copy of Mekk-Knight Crusadia Evermax. One copy of Boral Sword Dragon. One copy of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. She is really nice and spicy for this deck because we are playing that Change of Heart. So if your opponent has out a monster that you just can't really get around, if they do have something like Dragoon or something, you can go ahead and Change of Heart. If they like left out something like a Nightmare Phoenix or something where they popped your field spell, now you use Change of Heart, steal their Link 2 monster, then all you have to do really is summon out two more monsters, and then you can use Underworld Goddess to steal their other monsters. So your opponent, if you use Change of Heart and can get two monsters on the field, your opponent loses two monsters in that exchange, and you go into an Underworld Goddess. Sounds pretty good to me. And if they have another Link 2 on the field, then you can really take advantage. You only need one card, really, or no, you would still need two. But I digress. We have one copy of Dugaris the Timeless, one copy of Baguska, and then also because he is a Earth Warrior, we got to be playing the one copy of Gagaga Cowboy, and again, it could really matter to help close out some games. We don't have too many level 4 monsters. We just have like the Fortia, the Gactos, and then the Wento, but overall, it is still nice to just sort of have those options in here to be able to go in for Gagaga Cowboy for game. It'd be really hilarious if you could do that. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for this Warrock deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was kind of fun picking this deck back up. You know, not a super competitive deck, but it just keeps getting slightly better every time Konami gives it new support. So the new Warrock Medium, really impressed with it, really happy with how it's working. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. A lot of cool videos coming up in the near future, so we will see you guys for the next profile. Peace.